I'm Jennifer Gangwar from the Gangwar Real Estate Team. We're here today with Paul from JTO Contracting. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Jennifer.
Nice you to come out to our house and do a little
Absolutely.
bit introduction for and education for our clients. We wanted to talk today about roofing. So explain to me a little bit about your company and what you guys do.
Well, we JTO Contracting. We're here in Lake Mary, and kind of what we do is we offer free inspections to homeowners for their roofs. We let them know what condition it's in. If it needs minor repairs, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll get up there and do the minor repairs without any cost. We'll let you know whether or not it's got storm damage on it or not, and about how long you should be able to anticipate the age of the roof, when you'll need to start saving money, so that way you can put some money up and be prepared for a new roof later in the future. But that's kind of what we do. I am a certified forensic inspector for Hague. I'm certified a Hague inspector.
What's a certified forensic inspector?
Certified, well, basically I went to Hague. That's a school that certifies you in being able to determine whether or not the roof itself has any damage, wind damage, hail damage. And I can look through it, forensically be able to tell and determine a time span, whether or not it was recent, old, whether or not it was created by man, or if it was age or whatnot. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I would say that most roofers don't all have that certification.
No, all can.
Okay.
That ability is for anyone out there that's done over 100 inspections. Then you're allowed to go and take that course.
Okay.
So, but all
good
can.
to know.
Absolutely.
So when we are looking at a house, a lot of times buyers will be walking up to a property and they don't know what to really anticipate with a roof. They don't know what they should be looking for, and maybe the agent they're with is not a very experienced agent and doesn't know either. What are some things that they could be looking out for when they're walking up to a roof? Might give them an indication that something's wrong or something's fine.
I always tell everybody, if you can, now 2-story houses is very hard to do this, but if it's a single floor house, get eye level with the roof. You know, look at it. Take one step back from eye level and look to see if you have any curling. You know, curling is where the shingle will curl up a little bit, or lift. You know, a lot of times that you'll see lift and it could be just a nail pop, you know, or something like that. Granule loss, if it has gutters, go to the end of where a gutter is and look to see if there's any loose granules at the bottom of that gutter. You know, that's generally granule loss is 2 times when a roof happens. When it's first put on, because the excessive amount of granules that are put on that shingle, so once you install it, it'll shed a little bit. Then after that, you won't see any of that shedding until the life of the roof is lessening.
Okay.
You know,
So if you're at the bottom of the gutter and you're seeing kind of a little bit of pebbles at the bottom, that would be what you're talking about, like granular loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Granule loss is, you know, it's typical in Florida, and you get a lot more of it than you would in other states, in my opinion.
So Paul, if you're looking at a roof and you mentioned curling, what does that look like to a potential buyer or homeowner if that shows a sign there's a problem with the roof?
Excellent. So basically, when you're looking at the shingle and you're down here, here's the roof, you want to set your eye to where it's parallel with your shingles.
Okay.
These edges will be curled up like this.
So just a little bit of a
just
lift
a little
is an
bit
issue.
of a lift.
Because that gives
Yes.
what happens when it starts to curl.
Correct, and that's curling.
Okay.
And the other things that you'll look at too is the granules. You know, obviously this is a new shingle, but you'll start seeing pockets of granule loss on those shingles exposing the matting. That's big. That's percent of granule loss. That determines how much life you have.
So it might be smoother in areas.
Correct. Where they're voided areas of granules. You know, and that's what caused that void. You know, is it the age? Is it something that I know about as far as, was it hail? Was it wind? Was it blisters? What was it? You know, and that's something I can help determine too when I'm there. You know, so checking the downspouts if you have them for these little teeny granules, the granule loss inside of those, checking that's important. But outside of that, you'll see a shingle where it has a gap like this.
Okay.
That could be one of these nails had popped up and it's keeping it raised. Well, if I can go in there and just reset it, you know, and this goes back down and it reseals, you just saved yourself a whole lot of problems in the future. Another reason why inspections are important.
Okay. So when we're talking about the life of a roof, in Florida, does a 30-year shingle actually last 30 years?
Not typically. You know, it is Florida. You know, our weather here is very harsh. I tell everyone, you know, after you've had a roof on for more than 12 years, start having annual inspections by a roofer you feel comfortable with, that knows that they're looking out for your best interest. 12 years is really a good time frame to start doing that annually. If you're proactive, have it done the 5th year, then turn around and have it done the 8th year, the 10th, and then every year from there on. That way, what if it's something minor? What if a limb flew up underneath the shingle, a little limb, and it left it raised? That could create damage later on. So if you have an inspection, you can catch those little things early, and it'll prolong the roof. Another issue is what extends the life of the roof. What can help is making certain limbs and all that are trimmed back. You don't want limbs hanging over your roof. Nowhere near it. It's not good. Reason is that tree, it can produce a lot of pollen, and especially oaks and pines, sap, and that falls back onto your roof. That can hurt the roof.
So if you have larger trees, even it being in a shaded area, you should be trimming back your trees, even if they're not touching, but maybe they're casting shade on the house. You should try to trim them back with annual maintenance.
Annual maintenance for that, that's good. You know, if you do notice a little bit of algae or whatnot, you definitely want to be able to clean that roof with a non-bleach agent or a corrosive agent. There's a lot of green materials out there that you can buy. There's also high pressure washing. Be careful of that. It works very well, but you definitely want to leave that to the pros, not a residential homeowner doing it.
So if you have a cleaning company coming out and doing that, you want to ask them what they're using on your roof.
Correct.
And what the method is, so that they're not blowing the granules off your shingles.
Yeah, exactly. That and the misconception of bleach and using pool bleach and other things like that on the shingle is not good.
So bleach, what would bleach do if somebody's using bleach on your roof?
It can break down the coatings on the granules. So each one of these little granules right here has a coating, a protective coating around it. So it can become corrosive to that coating of the granule. And when that happens, that's when you'll start losing it faster. You can lose those granules a lot faster on the shingle. We see that a lot. I mean, I've heard so many people, I make certain I bleach my roof annually every year, and I'm like, oh no.
So they think they're doing something good, and they're actually shortening the life of the roof.
Yes. And with shortening the roof, not only that, you know, what it can do in the surrounding areas, our aquifers and everything else. I'd stay away from bleach. Okay. That is not a good thing.
So something that is, I guess, maybe not as common on every house or not as standard on every house is gutters. How important are gutters on a roof
gutters
to
are
maintain
important.
it?
Gutters are important. The main reason why gutters were developed is to stop the soil erosion from houses. So that's the reason why it was developed. There's other practical uses, and that's where water splashes down and goes and splashes back on the house to prevent that. So that way you don't have it destroying window seals and doors and whatnot. And the other is for own personal protection, having it over a garage door. You know, that way, you know, the water's not coming and cascading down and going back up underneath the garage. Those are the three main reasons why you should have gutters. As far as anything else, as far as protecting the roof, not so much. It's mostly soil contamination or soil erosion, not contamination, but soil erosion.
What about the fascia on a roof? How does that help extend the life of the roof, or is that more or less protecting the body of the house?
That's more the body. The fascia itself is there. You have a drip edge. So when you put on your roof and you have the shingle, you'll have an actual drip edge piece of flashing. Okay, that's actually protecting the fascia plate. Okay, and then that flashing, the drip edge, we use 2.5 inch drip edge. So you have 2.5 inches here and 2.5 inches under the shingle. That's going to actually protect the bond of the fascia plate and the substrate or your plywood or decking that you're using underneath the shingle. So it's very important. I mean, when you think of that water and it coming off, you want something there to protect that. I see a lot, even with houses today, the older ones, where they only have 1.5-inch drip edge. Meets code, it's okay, but the more, I always say, the merrier, the better. So we use the 2.5. That's there to completely encapsulate the actual roof itself, and allows you something to tack on as far as with your fascia and your soffits. Your soffits is very important because that's your intake. That's your intake of air when it hits the wall, rises up, and it goes into your attic. And that allows your roof to breathe. That is another reason why most roofs in Florida do not last as long, is because I call it, and most people call it, the oven baking effect. You don't have enough intake and exhaust for that air to escape out. It'll create an oven baking effect, which pressurizes and just cooks those shingles.
Oh, wow.
So that's another reason why they don't last 30 years, is improper ventilation. I would say on my inspections, probably 2 out of every 5 roofs are under ventilated. So that's 4 out of 10. That's 40% of my roofs that I'm looking at in older roofs are under ventilated. So that's not good.
So you're talking about ventilation. When you're looking at a roof, what are the pipes that are coming out at the tops of the roofs?
Good question. Well, if they're straight pipes, those are just pipes for bathrooms or whatnot, allowing breathing and other ways of, I've seen people get up there and unclog a toilet from one of them that was connected to it. So, but it's there to ventilate, air ventilation. We call them goosenecks. So if you look at the vents that are cupped like this, that's called a gooseneck, to resemble a goose and its neck. Those are generally hooked up to, whether it be bathrooms, whether it be your kitchen and whatnot, for ventilation as well. So all of those are for ventilation.
So would they
Different
be
forms of
necessarily
ventilation.
hooked up to like an exhaust fan that's in your bathroom or something?
Those would not. Well, yes. Some would be. I'm sorry. I heard exhaust fan. I'm thinking the attic fan. But yes, you're absolutely right. It would be.
So you mentioned that the roof system can cook into like a baking effect. Does an attic fan help cure that problem?
Attic fans do help, but you got to be careful with the formula of an attic fan versus traditional ways of venting a roof. So you have off-ridge boxes, which across the street you can see one. It's 4 foot wide.
What's that box? What does that look? Oh, that's rectangular.
Right.
Okay.
So off-ridge vent is ORV is what it's called.
Okay.
Layman's term is an off-ridge box because it looks like a box.
Okay.
All right. Or you have ridge vents. So on the top of the ridge, it's open, and you have one of these, or you have metal.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have this, that does not work well with your attic fans. It will work against one another, and it can hurt it. A lot of people they don't know, and they'll just go ahead and order one, go to Home Depot, buy one, install it, say, yay, I got one, and it's temperature controlled, and it'll cut on when it gets so hot. But then it runs constantly, and they don't know why. And they put it too close to a vent. So have that assessed by somebody who can properly assess it and determine whether or not by formula what type of ventilation is right for your home.
If you're at the point, though, say you already own a home or you're looking at a house and there are those warning signs that it needs to re-roof. Tell me about some of the things that you have here about if you're going to re-roof a house, what's important that you should be considering when re-roofing a house? Is it just the shingles? I mean, from what you're telling me, it's the fascia goes into it, it's the securing. So tell me a little bit about what you have here. I'm going to bring this up. So.
No, absolutely. So this right here, grab that for you. So this right here, this is what we call peel and stick.
Okay.
This is your standard felt. This is synthetic. These are starter shingles. And this is just a piece of the regular shingle that's down here.
Okay.
So why we bring this up is, most common is felt. And back in the day, everyone used felt paper. So code is 30 pounds of felt has to be on a roof.
Okay.
And then you might have to double up on certain lower pitches. We use synthetic. That on every roof. We do not use felt anymore. Not our company.
Okay.
We'll use a lifetime synthetic paper. So generally when I bring that up, people look at me and says, "Yep, everyone uses synthetic." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you also have to ask another vital question. What each thing has everything has a way. Bad words. Hang on. What I'm trying to say is you can make things and still meet code different ways.
Yeah.
You know, you have qualities within products. This right here, you can order it in several different qualities.
Okay. So there's maybe like a thickness
Yes.
to each level that
Yes,
you're purchasing?
or how long it'll last too.
Okay.
So I tell everyone, always remember lifetime. Although lifetime might not be your life and the other person's life, lifetime generally is a term used on products where you know you're getting the best. You know, this is a lifetime synthetic that we use. So that I know that synthetic will last the duration of the shingle, should. Not only that, it's a water barrier, which is nice. Unlike, you know, all of them are water barriers, but this is better.
Okay.
To where the felt, and the reason why we got away from it, is when we're ripping off these older roofs, this felt crumbles in your hands. It's after time and air and water, it just becomes very brittle. I've noticed that on tile roofs, metal roofs, shingle roofs. And so we just walked away from it as a company. We just won't do it. And most companies now are doing just that. They're not putting felt back on roofs anymore because of that in Florida. Felt's great. It's a great product. It's been around a long time. It's not holding up in our temperatures. So grades, qualities of materials. That's a big thing to touch on, because no matter what you order, whether it be the shingle, whether it be the underlayment, whether it's the starter shingle, the hip and ridge shingles, which is this right here, they have different qualities. Most homeowners don't know the qualities in which they're getting.
I wouldn't know that there's that many different processes in it. And it sounds from what you're saying that if you skimp on one of the pieces in the puzzle, then it's going to not be as durable and last as long.
So getting authentic warranties, you know, getting a true warranty from the manufacturer by the person installing it, that's important too at the end of the day. Hey, when should I get my warranty from Certainty or GAF or any of those? You know, that's big. I find that some people don't even get their books, don't even get it signed, don't even get it an authentic warranty backing up the actual install.
And considering how much you invest when you put in a new roof, you want to make sure that you're actually getting the warranty that you're paying for.
And I'm going to go through wind warranty right now, because that's big. We're talking about warranties. Most of the time, if you look right here, this talks about this system getting a 130 wind warranty. What most people think is, oh, if I buy the shingle, I get it. No, it's much more than that. You have to have not just the shingle, you have to have matching hip and ridge to meet this 130 warranty, plus the labor, how it's installed is very vital to get that. And to get that warranty, that comes from Certainty. So you have to have the authentic warranty to obtain that.
So when they're getting this particular brand of roof, is there an instruction guide that you get when installing the roof as to a checklist of what you have to do?
Oh, absolutely. One of my, I've got numerous certifications. One of those is a master installer.
Okay.
So you go through programs through each manufacturer and you take tests. And as products increase or they change, they have you retake those tests. Sometimes you do annual tests anyhow, regardless, every single year. So I have that. I have an installation certification on how to install products. It's a book that you take and you sit down and you go through every single product. So very educational. I doubt every homeowner would want to do that, but you can. You can go right online.
So many things you have to do in a course of a day. Probably
you can learn
not.
all of that. But yes, it's, you know, it's very vital. You know, to me, you know, I see it all the time. Yeah, I got a 130 rated system, and I'm like, hey, great, let me check out your warranty. I don't have one. Okay, well, go ahead and call your manufacturer, and a lot of times they'll have you by address or property appraisers.
And they can find it that way.
They can be able to figure out whether or not they actually got it or didn't. And I find out a lot that they didn't.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. So you've got this whole system. So say you did a
Yes.
re-roof. What if you have solar panels? I see a lot of homes with solar panels.
Yeah.
Does that extend a life of a roof with a solar panel, or does it make it more complicated when you're re-roofing?
It complicates things. It does, but there's a system to everything. You know, I always tell everyone if you have solars, you know, contact your installation team that installed it. You know, hopefully they're still around, and that way they're able to take off the unit itself, and then your roofing team can get, you know, can go from there. That's always the best scenario. Obviously, it doesn't always happen that way. So,
No, there's a lot
yeah,
of solar installers that go
yes,
out of business.
yes.
So if that did happen to you, do all roofers have the ability to take those solar panels off?
They all roofers have that ability. It's whether or not they want to take on that liability. That's the big thing, because those solar panels, they're you got to be, especially a two-story roof. You
Yeah.
got to be very careful with them. I mean, solars are great. I mean, come on, they can save so much in energy. You know, being an energy auditor for 5 years, I know. You know, but that's a big thing. But having that inspection, having it looked at thoroughly once a year, especially if you know we had a major storm, you should have that checked. Make certain that it's sealed, make certain that it's screwed down, tightened to their specs. If it's done properly, you shouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, thank you so much for
Welcome.
taking the time to come out and give us a bit of an education on roofs. I know I learned a few things. I'm sure some of our viewers did as well. So once again, thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'm Jennifer Gangwar from the Gangwar Real Estate Team. Please check out this video and the other in our series. Have a great day.